Jemai. Welcome to the Koniagalitic Initial Foot Assignment Rules. The presentation was put together by April Counselor, and Candace Branson will be presenting it today. This presentation is best followed by the video on how to read feet. If you haven't watched that video, please go watch how to read allutic feet that we're going to be using, and some of the initial, like the lengthening rules that you'll need to know to go into this video. So prosody, this covers chapter 7 in the orthography book, and prosody again is the pattern of rhythm and stress in a language. This also relates to lengthening in allutic. You cannot start assigning foot rules until after the syllables have been broken out. So you should, by all means, review the syllable rules so that you are comfortable and confident in syllabifying words before you start with rhythm and prosody and assigning foot rules. So here's a quick review of the terms from the chapter. A foot is a prosodic unit made up of one or two syllables. A foot always contains a stressed syllable, just one. A monosyllabic foot contains one syllable, and that syllable is stressed. The example is look. That's one word, it is one syllable, and it is stressed. An iambic foot contains two syllables. The second syllable in that foot is stressed. And this is how an iambic foot is written. The first syllable in the foot is in lowercase. The second syllable is stressed, so it's in all caps. And the foot is marked by a bracket. The syllable boundary is still separated by space/space. There are also stray syllables, which are unstressed syllables that are not in a foot. And words can be made up of monosyllabic feet, iambic feet, and stray syllables, all woven into one word. Stress is really important here. All feet have a stressed syllable. In monosyllabic feet, there is only one syllable, and it is always stressed. In iambic feet, there are two syllables. The second syllable is always stressed. Stray syllables are never stressed. And stress tells you about the emphasis of a word. If this is unfamiliar to you, please watch the how to read feet video. I go through that really fast right here because this is review. Okay, and let's talk about lengthening really quick. A syllable will be lengthened if it's open and stressed. E cannot be lengthened. Closed syllables cannot be lengthened. And the last syllable of a word cannot be lengthened. Okay, let's get into it. So we're going to start with just the initial foot rules. And we do that because we always start with the initial foot rules when we're applying feet to a word. These foot rules only apply to the first one or two syllables of a word, and they can create monosyllabic or iambic feet. So when we're starting to apply feet or assign feet to a word, we always start at the very beginning of a word. We look at the first one or two syllables, and the first thing we do is we look for rule 0. And rule 0 is said to be the universal rule because it applies to other heavy syllables throughout the word, but we're not going to talk about the rest of the word. In this part, we're just going to talk about if it's the first one or two syllables in the word. So if the first syllable is heavy, it forms a monosyllabic foot. So every single time the word starts with two vowels, even if it starts with consonant vowel vowel, that will be a monosyllabic foot, and all monosyllabic feet are stressed. So the examples are kaluk, kaluk, piani, and kehtok. So kaluni is open and stressed, so it is also lengthened. Pia is open and stressed, it is also lengthened. Keh is not open, though it is stressed, it is not lengthened. twa, is open and stressed, but it's the end of a word, so it can't be lengthened. Okay, so rule 0 applies only to the first syllable when it's heavy. It forms a monosyllabic foot. Initial foot rule A, so this is initial foot rule A, says that if the first syllable is closed, it forms a monosyllabic foot. Now, these are presented in order. So if rule 0 applies, then rule 0 is the winner. Okay, so if the first syllable is heavy and closed, we would only apply rule 0. If it's not heavy but it's closed, then we apply initial foot rule A. So our examples here are maluk, suk, buchkak. So maluk is geminated. The first syllable is closed. The second syllable is also closed. It's not heavy. It's not in a iambic foot, so it's just a stray syllable. Maluk is the one that is going to be emphasized or stressed. It's not going to be lengthened because it's a closed syllable. And really, all of the syllables that apply for initial foot rule A will be closed and therefore not lengthened. Shuk is a word, and it's only one syllable, and that syllable is closed, so it applies to initial foot rule A. And the last example is buchkak, and buchkak, the buch is emphasized or stressed because it's a monosyllabic foot. Initial foot rule B says that if the first two syllables have automatic gemination, then it forms 2 monosyllabic feet. Okay? It's going to form 2 separate feet, not an iambic foot containing 2 syllables. Those are 2 very different things. So, tammok is 2 monosyllabic feet. Both syllables are stressed. The first syllable, however, is closed, so it will not be lengthened. The second word is kaya, like her kayak, and the Y is geminated. The first syllable is closed. When you have gemination, it's going to be closed. The second syllable is open, but it's the end of a word, so it's not going to get lengthened. And then you have this one, chanyani. Chan is closed, so it won't be lengthened. Nya is open and not the end of the word, so it can also be lengthened. Chanyani. Ni is a stray syllable, doesn't fit into a foot, doesn't get any emphasis, is never lengthened. Poor ni. Okay, and then initial foot rule C is our last foot rule for the initial parts of the word. So it says that if the first syllable is light and open, and the second syllable is light, whether it's open or not, then it forms an iambic foot. Okay, an iambic foot, remember down here, is made up of an initial unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. So here are examples of that. Azechdok, azechdok. This is an iambic foot, 2 syllables in 1 foot. This one is stressed, this one is not. And then tok is a stray syllable, poor little tok. And achinak is the second example. Achi is the iambic foot. A is not stressed. Chi is stressed. Chi is also lengthened because it is open and not the end of a word. So it's achinak. Nak is a stray syllable. Initial foot rule C says that if it's light and open, then the first syllable is light and open, and the second syllable is light, then it forms an iambic foot. So here we have an open, light syllable followed by another light syllable, so it's an iambic foot. This one is not stressed because it is the first syllable of an iambic foot. The second syllable is stressed, and then yak is a stray syllable. So here's a recap, and I hope that they make sense to you. I'll spell it out. So rule 0 means that the first syllable is heavy, and that forms a monosyllabic foot. In initial foot rule A, the first syllable is closed, and that forms a monosyllabic foot. Initial foot rule B is where automatic gemination happens, and that forms 2 monosyllabic feet. This is only for automatic gemination. Initial foot rule C says that if syllable 1 is light and open, and syllable 2 is light, then it forms an iambic foot. Koyana.